Welcome to the Mental Health Hour and welcome to episode 107. This is Embracing Change Part 2. Our second look at this topic. We haven't done it in a while. We first did it, somewhere in the 20s. So it's been a good while. Worth a revisit. Change is ever present in all of our lives. It is just a fact of life. Get rid of this shirt. But
Not something I ever thought you'd say on the mental health. And he means the one behind the seat for those listening on audio only.
Yes, I guess that is prudent to say. There's the episode Hattie was nice enough to post in the chat. Thank you, Hattie. So change. I mean, this is something that everybody deals with. It's not something that is something that only a certain group of folks deal with. It's something that we all, in some way or another, almost always have to deal with on a daily basis sometimes. And
Try as you might, you can't stop things changing.
yes, it is a fact of life, a part of life, and a necessary evil as well. I say evil because nobody likes change. I can't honestly say that I've ever heard anybody really stoked about change unless it's change that is being asked for, in like the event of elections or, something along those lines where we're looking for change on the horizon. Then it can be exciting and people get stoked about it. But as far as your everyday life changes, things that throw wrenches in your daily routine, it is not a favorite of most.
Yeah. And you saying all that has just reminded me exactly when we did this broadcast.
It was the HAPS changeover.
Yes.
It was the HAPS changeover to after their big update
Yeah.
from HAPS to
Big
CRAP.
upgrade.
Yeah, big upgrade.
That's when we did this. So it was a while ago now because we've been here a couple of years
Prudent
now.
at the time and still prudent today. We embraced change and we found a better platform for the show. We found some better lines of distribution, and the show is still going through changes today. And it's still fun to piss and moan about HAPS, but it was, as Hattie says, change for the better. And usually, it's not always the case, but it usually turns out these minor changes that throw wrenches into our lives and are unexpected at times. Once embraced and accepted, we do seem to find hope and betterness in the change itself. Once we're open to it, once we accept what has happened and accept the change for what it is, it's not going to go away. I can either boycott, piss, moan, bitch. It's not going to change the change. So then we hit the point where we accept. And we're going to get into, in one of the slides,
I'm
we're going to
gonna
get
have to
into,
use 2 minutes. I'm so sorry.
sure.
Thomas has just told me he needs something
Yeah, that's fine.
real quick.
In,
So
in one
sorry.
of in one of the slides that we're going to be looking at tonight, we will take a look at something called the change curve. And what that is kind of the breakdown of there's like 7 different steps or um, points on the change curve, and it really resembles 5 stages of grieving, or 7 stages of grieving, whatever it's up to now. I still call it 5 stages of grieving. That's what I learned. That's how I know it. And I mean, they can add another 11, and I'm still going to know the 5 stages of grieving. That's part of that change, right? Change for the better. We just keep adding things. Um, but be that as it may, he says after we stopped screaming at the past platform, we learned it was a positive change for all of us. Yeah. Haps is still dearly missed. The old Haps, it's still dearly missed. That was a great start for us. It was the birth of the show was on that platform, and it was really well put together, even when it was in beta mode. And then, unfortunately, they updated to bring it out of beta, and it just completely shit the bed, missed the mark by a mile, and no longer ceases to exist at this point. But that, as we said, it has brought us to Twitch to record the podcast. And we've now opened our avenues into the audio platforms, and we've opened our um, YouTube channel up. The YouTube channel was going, but it wasn't as strong as it is now. There's definitely a lot more presence, and definitely a lot more consistent views and listens to the show now that we're over here. And part of that comes with the show growing and getting shared out and all of that, and being 100 and couple episodes in. But a lot, I think a lot of it also has to do with coming over to Twitch and doing the show over here now, and learning a lot more about how to streamline from here. That is all for the better in the end.
Yeah, well, look at where we might have if we'd have stuck with that platform as it was, we'd have just got comfortable with things the way they were, and I guess now, even though we hated it at the time, we've had to look elsewhere. We've had to go and do other things, and it has, I guess, encouraged us to grow further by spreading it onto more platforms and doing more with it. So we've certainly upgraded things in more ways than one.
Yep,
And even though we hated the change at the time, we have certainly embraced it now.
absolutely. It's definitely been a good thing.
Mhm.
Uh, excuse me. Hattie says, speaking of change grief, please keep Ella, our good friend Ella, has lost her puppy cat, her rabbit of 10 years. Uh,
Yeah.
and that was just this past week or so. So we had a little spot. Gemma was nice enough to put that at the very end of the intro segment, little memorial clip there. I did a lot of streams with that rabbit.
Yeah.
uh, Me, Ella, and Puppy Cat, late nights. I have since started going to bed at a normal hour again because of the changes that have taken place in my life, having a
Mhm.
baby and all. It's definitely got my sleep schedule right on par with what it should have been probably all along. But more change, more grief, and that was the point I was making while you stepped away real quick. One of the slides we're going to get into, called the change curve, is very, very similar to the 5 stages of grief. It's not the same. It's got its own spin, but it's essentially you can definitely see how it would be brothers with it, or sisters, whatever you want to call it. Close relative of the 5 stages. And that's the thing that we're going to really focus on, um, trying to figure out how to become resilient to change, how to become more accepting, I was laughing with my wife before she left for work today when I told her what the broadcast was tonight, and I told her flat out, I'm like, I'm not the best at this though. I'll be the first one to admit I do not like change. I am a very I like things as they are, as I
Mhm.
feel like most people do. I don't think it's a flaw. I think everybody gets comfortable, likes routine, and when things take a shakeup or even just the tiniest little tweak to the daily plan that is set
Mhm.
forth. And a part of that also comes from my job. Like we're very structured or paramilitary, if you will, in the fire department. So I love structure and I love having a set plan. And if there's a wrench thrown in that, which there always is, you know how it takes an hour to do a 5-minute job, right? Every time you got to just change a light bulb. Well, the whole damn light needs replaced or something. Something happens.
Yeah.
Anytime there's just the tiniest little wrench in it, I do not, I'm going to, I don't like kick and scream and throw a fit, but I'm noticeably upset, I'll say. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
but I also feel like I get over it quick. I have started realizing that what I was saying in the beginning, it doesn't matter how much you piss, moan, bitch, cry. Most of the time, this change isn't something you're going to change just by going on strike, you know?
Yeah.
So
Like, the whole of the UK seems to be doing again. Everybody's going on strike.
we just had Kaiser Permanente, one of the major healthcare providers or benefits and healthcare providers in the United States. So they're on strike right now. So that's good.
Yeah, our doctors are
And
striking too, if not
we've
all of
got we've got one of the major healthcare providers in the country just walked out of the office today, and
it.
everybody else or everybody all anybody's worried about today is this damn iPhone test they did or whatever. Thinking,
Oh god, I heard all about that.
oh my goodness, these people.
Uh,
Now, but moving forward, okay. So, Gemma, what have you on change? Anything to, well, now that we're 20 minutes in, anything to start off? I mean, I kind of took a little
yeah,
solo
you had
lead.
to do I had a SOS, "I think I'm gonna be sick" message from
Oh,
Thomas, so I'm like, "Oh, no." So, yeah, I had to, run there, but I think he's alright, he's probably sickening for something. Um, yeah, change. So, I recognized recently that my mental health was not what it should be, shall we say. So I'm having to adapt to new medications again. So that's change. Um, definitely. Blimey. Changing my body, a change in the way my body wants to do things at the moment. And yeah, I'm noticing that there's a lot more that I'm getting slower with because of my health and stuff. So again, like I've said about it before, about having to, I guess, grieve what you could do and get used to what you're now able to do and accept that that's your new normal. And it's all right some days if all you have managed to do is just get up out of bed. Because some days that's all I can do right now. Get up, get Thomas ready for school or whatever. Um, Feed
it,
him, and then just crash back out again. That's sometimes all I can do, but I have to accept that now.
it sounds like we have another living with depression installment coming down the pike, huh?
Ah,
That's
yeah.
something that I struggle with as well. Depression is a son of a bitch, and it
Oh, hell yeah.
you get on the right meds, and it is noticeably better. But the problem with the SSRIs or most of the depression medicines that are prescribed is that your body builds a tolerance to them,
Mhm.
unlike some of the others that you can be put on, other drugs that are for different things. The depression drugs, you build a tolerance, so there's constant movement in um, the way your body handles it, and you need
Oh
to up
god.
it. You need to visit regularly, and usually it's somebody in your life pointing it out to you. Um, I know my
Mm.
wife is usually the first one to say, "I think might be time to get your meds checked because you're starting to slip back into some old habits, not drinking or anything like that. Just when the depression hits, it hits.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not the first one to notice it.
I wasn't. I mean, I knew things weren't great for me mentally, but it wasn't me that really noticed things were shit. I'll just say it
Mhm,
as it is. So I thought, "Okay, yeah, we're gonna go there again." And that took a lot for me to accept because I haven't been on antidepressants for quite some time now
mhm,
because I just have a really hard time with them. Like, these are really kicking my ass.
mhm.
I'm just tired all the time, I feel sick, and it's changing everything again, and then it's affecting some of my other meds. I'm having to get used to that, and I have other medications, and oh, dear me.
Yes,
I'm
and
having to
depression
adapt to
medicine,
all of that.
the
Yeah.
medicine that they prescribe, SSRIs, much like I believe steroids as well, need to be weaned on and weaned off of. Like, you don't
Mhm.
wean onto something, but you know what I'm saying. You gotta
Yeah,
step
I'm
it
building
up
up
gradually.
gradually. Yeah, yeah.
You
I
can't
need
just
to.
start pounding 150 milligrams. Uh, I think they start you out at 50, and I've worked my
Mhm.
way up to like 175, and then this past time they're like, we can't really take it much higher, so we're gonna start coming back down so we can go on another. And yeah, so I mean, depression meds are definitely something, nothing to take lightly, and it does
Mhm.
cause great mood changes. It does, the medicine alone, not this is just on top of what the depression's doing to you that you're not always aware of, like others might be. I know you've seen it. My wife calls me out on it, which I'm grateful for. You have called me out on it and said, Tim, your that broadcast was shit. You weren't yourself at all.
Yeah.
Is everything okay? And I'm usually like, yeah, I'm fine, I'm fine. But yeah, that's usually what's going on is my depression's kicked up. But I'm just kind of, I don't want to say I'm blind to it because I know that I'm not like you were saying, I know I'm not myself, but I don't feel much different. It's just the way I'm acting is different. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, but saying you're fine is generally a knee-jerk reaction to being asked how you are, because that's generally how we feel. We've gotta respond, "Yeah, I'm fine."
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then, because often if we answered honestly, like, obviously, you're not gonna do it to everybody. Like, sometimes they're just like, "Hi, how you doing?" kinda thing in passing. But if you're asked from somebody that you're, like, good friends with or a family member and they ask you how you're doing, if you had to answer really honestly how you're actually doing, I don't think we'd be just saying "fine" sometimes. But it's a knee-jerk reaction response to say, "I'm fine." I
And
say it
it's,
all the time, and I'm like, "I'm not, I'm shit," but I just
mhm.
say, "I'm fine."
And it is one of those things that ties back into tonight's episode. The ever changing environment with living with depression, and
Mhm,
how that affects you from one day to the next. When you get those meds right and straight, everything is as it should be and it feels right. But then without you really even knowing it, your body's building that tolerance and things are slowly degrading again.
mhm.
Slow enough that it's a gradual thing. I certainly miss it. My wife is very keen to it, which I'm grateful for. because that's when I go ahead and call and schedule an appointment for a med check, which is completely normal for anybody that has depression and is on antidepressants. It's
Mhm.
a completely normal part of the process to get these medicines. It's not that they're not working. It's not that your body's different. It is a part of the process, and everybody deals with it that is on these medicines.
Yeah.
Um, so that's change that we live with, an ever present change in just our mental health alone. And unfortunately you're going through that right now. But
Mhm.
I venture to guess in another week or two, those meds will be straightened out and your body will be adjusted and things will be on the up and up.
I
Um,
sure hope so. It's been about 3 weeks now,
yeah.
so, we'll certainly, give it a go, give it a fair whack, but, when you're talking about change and things we can't, like, control, like, again, the time of the year, something as simple as the weather, that can affect our moods massively. And then the as it's getting darker earlier on a night and then darker earlier in the day, you don't wanna get up out of bed early when it's dark outside, and then you're getting home from work and it's dark outside. And I
Hmm.
heard something it was quite interesting actually. It said that the reason that we feel more tired around this time of year when it's darker is because our body releases melatonin,
Hmm.
which puts us well, melatonin is for sleep,
Yes.
meaning that if
It-
our body's releasing the melatonin, that's why we're tired more often at this time of year,
yeah.
because with the darker night, with it getting darker earlier and darker later on the morning, that's why.
Yes. This is the time of year that I go home. I'm sorry. I leave for work when it's pitch black and I come home when it's pitch black. Because in the summertime, the way my shift is, I get off at 6 a.m.
Mhm.
I can the sun's about risen by the time I get home. So it's
Mm.
already light out, the day's begun. But even when I was on day work, and that's a 12-hour shift, not a 24, you have to do, we have like five, now it's like two stations in the county that only require a day work assignment. Um, those guys are there from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. and they're going to work when it's dark and coming home when it's dark. So that's
Yeah,
the real that sucks. But it
and that
is
can really affect your mood as well.
one of the things that people hate about this time of year,
Mm.
the changing of the clocks, um, and it getting dark earlier. Everybody likes when the sun's out until 8 o'clock. It
Oh, yeah.
is currently. I've still got sunshine, and it's 6:33 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But it is definitely setting right now. I say we should be we should be in probably darkness by 7:10 or so.
Yeah, it was about that when we got dark.
So that is another change that we deal with.
That you can't
Seasonal
control.
seasonal change. There's medication changes. I mean, there's just so many. I could sit here and why don't we get into some slides and take a look at this? We'll start with the change curve since I kind of teased to that, and we'll take a look at that first, and then we'll move on to the others.
Mhm.
Only got a couple of them tonight.
Okay, so the transition curve. So we'll go starting with number 1, obviously. Shock. So surprise, a mismatch between expectation and reality leading to numbness and immobilization. And then denial. So disbelief that change is necessary. Let's carry on as things were before and block things out. Um, Number 3, awareness. perhaps leading to self-doubt, frustration, anger, and confusion as a reality bites that change is necessary. Acceptance, so letting go of the past, comfortable attitudes and behaviors. And number 5, experimentation, so dealing with new reality by testing new approaches and skills. Number 6, searching, looking for meaning, understanding the reasons for success and for failure, and what's happened and why. And then number 7, integration. So the new skills, attitudes, and behaviors become the new norms of everyday life.
And you'll notice as the timeline goes on, for those listening on the podcast and can't see the slide, the slides will be posted in our Discord server, as always. So please join the Discord. The invitation link is in the show notes. But if you take a look at the graph that it's on, the curved line is actually on a graph which the x-axis is time, and the y-axis is self-esteem. So as time moves on, the curve trends up. It dips a little bit. You hit acceptance, and then the next thing it starts going straight up. So your self-esteem goes up over time because you've hit acceptance, and things are moving in a positive manner. You're starting to understand that this isn't all going to be bad, and we can make some lemonade out of these lemons, and all the good adages that come your way when change is afoot. So you can see how it kind of closely resembles the 5 stages of grief. You got your denial, you got your acceptance, and shock. That could very well be a part of the stages of grief. We're missing bargaining and depression, but I think depression is kind of hinted at with awareness. Like that's when you're aware that this is gonna be it now, leading to self-doubt, frustration, anger, confusion. And then you hit that acceptance and things start trending upward again. Pardon me.
And that shows that it gets higher, like on that scale on this one. It shows that the level of self-esteem is actually higher after you've dealt with that, because it can do that if you are going through a stage where you think, I can't do this, I can't deal with this, and then you have, and then you can look back at what you've achieved, then it really does give you a boost.
And this is listed as the transition curve. It's also AKA the Kubler-Ross change curve. And like I said, these will be posted in the Discord. I'll flash the link up for those watching the live and the YouTube. That is the Discord link. And if you are on the podcast listening, as I said, the Discord link is in the show notes. So please give us a follow over on the Discord. You can join the great community that is the Mental Health Hour Discord. Moving forward, we have how to get better at dealing with change. This is important for myself, among others, but
so
take
yeah,
it away.
change is an unavoidable constant in our lives.
There it
Sometimes
is. The first of the edits I need to do for the slides. That Gemma gives me. Now, normally I do it to myself because I find one slide that has some ridiculous word on it, but that's when she took care of it.
Oh, you're welcome. There we go. This is what you call karma for all the years I had to do the editing.
I tried. I messed with her throughout the entire show, and
Yeah.
she's gotten wise to a lot of it. Like she covers the camera up now at the beginning of the show, and she finally caught on. Like after the 5th or 6th time she's stumbling over this ridiculous word, she's like, "You're doing this on purpose, aren't you?"
Yep. This one's all on me. Yeah. Anyway, sometimes it's within our control, but sometimes it's not. Fortunately, there are ways to adapt to change and even take advantage of it. So think about it, review the situation, take a moment to look at the problem comprehensively, discuss your reaction with friends and classmates. Don't jump to conclusions or plan for the worst, and consider how to change and how it will affect your plan. Take a look, check out your feelings. So consider the positive and the negative aspects of the change. Believe that the change can bring benefits. Know what you need to be willing to accept change. Do not stick to the rules, and have confidence in yourself and others. And then ask questions and looking for information. So identify useful resources, make a list of questions and seek answers. Try to understand the reasons for change. Solicit opinions from those who have experienced similar changes, and try to understand the different results of the change and the influence you can exert. And then do it. Master the change. Develop a task list and prioritize it, and then take action. Focus on the benefits of change and motivate yourself and others. Step by step, focusing on only one step at a time. And focus on things you can exert influence on, and don't worry about the things out of your control.
This, this was a great slide to look at. This was one of the first or the only ones when we were going to do this episode 2 weeks ago when we postponed because of my leg, which is still on fire right now, by the way. But getting better. PT was actually really good today. It's one of the first times I walked out of there feeling like we accomplished something and not like I was in a car accident. Tony D checking in. How are you, buddy? Good to see you. This was one of the only slides I could find with any good information on dealing with change. But I liked how it broke it down, thinking about it, then taking a look at it, then researching it, and then doing it, putting it into action.
Mm-hmm.
So you get kind of the breakdown of each of those categories. Take a minute to take a look at the problem. Is it a problem, or are we just being, or are we maybe overreacting a little bit because we don't like change? Nobody likes change. It's okay. But are we overreacting in our feelings? Cognitive distortions come into play here. We've talked about them several times in our CBT episodes. Don't fall victim to cognitive distortions, fortune telling, jumping to conclusions, et cetera, et cetera. We have an episode on it. We need to do another one because that, quite frankly, is a huge topic to discuss because it cognitive distortions breed poor mental health. And we will definitely take another look at that soon. But don't fall victim to that. Just because it's happened in the past does not mean it's going to happen in the future. Believe that change can bring good. You have to start your mind in the direction in order to accept the change. You have to start your mind in the direction that the change is good. Even if it's not your favorite, what are we going to do about it?
Mm-hmm.
So that's when you start researching, as it says to do next. Research the information. Get some information about it. Maybe this shit is good, Don't jump to those conclusions just because we're being stubborn. And then after you research it, put it into action.
I was always good at that, like thinking the worst case scenario of everything, like if I'd been through something before. I was like, "Oh, well, I'm just gonna fail it." Or even, like, entering new relationships or starting new jobs, anything. Like, yeah, it's been bad before, so I'm just gonna fail it again, or it's just gonna go shit up, or yeah, I've been terrible with it, and, often when you go in with that mindset, then you end up looking for something that isn't there, and you end up frigging it up yourself because you're expecting it to go wrong, and then your mind is working overdrive and making something that probably isn't there, and then you're making it go wrong, and you're not giving yourself that opportunity. So, yeah, it's hard, it's really hard not to go in with that mindset once you've been burned a few times,
Mhm.
but, yeah, it doesn't help, trust me, I've been there, done that many times.
And
Doesn't help.
training your brain in the direction you want it to go
Mm.
is a great skill and tool to learn. Um, Hattie, have a good birthday dinner. Thanks for being here.
Oh,
And we'll
yeah.
get you next week. Hattie's got to jump off. And thank you for hopping in and modding and all that good stuff. Um, so enjoy the night. Thanks for being here. Um, Training the brain, though, I was saying, is such a skill to learn. If uh, It applies in many different ways, but in this instance, uh, starting to head down the road that, hey, this isn't that bad, like you were kind of just alluding to there. Uh, I think we most often talk about it when with things like anxiety. If your brain starts working in overdrive, that anxiety is going to go through the roof because your brain kind of leads the way here. And if you can calm that brain down, recognize that the anxiety is getting high, recognize that things aren't as bad as they are or seem,
Mhm.
we can start calming that brain down. You can talk somebody out of a heart attack. Well, you're not, excuse me, you're not going to talk them out of having a heart attack, but
Panic
you
attack.
can, I've literally seen it. A guy was having the big one, and just by talking to him, telling him his vitals look great, here's some oxygen, this, that, and the other, we had him so calm, cool, and collected. When the medic hopped on board, he was not even expecting it at all. And then until he put the 12 lead on, he's like, "We gotta go." uh, but it's just something that it's amazing what the brain can do when it's trained in the right direction and you calm it down. Because if the sicker we think we are, the sicker we're going to get. Because we'll talk ourselves
Yeah.
into it, right?
Yeah, you can totally start panicking over things, and then your breathing speeds up, and then your heart rate will speed up, and your blood pressure, and then next thing you know, your head's gonna explode. And yeah, like it's like with the panic attacks and things about controlling your breathing when they say about breathing into a bag or something, and just controlling your breathing, breathing in through your nose, out through your mouth, things like that. Um, but doing mindfulness and things, just mindfully doing things to control the breathing, to control the panic and the stress, the worry. Because if you do get into that state, and I've done it again myself many a times, where you end up worrying about something to the point where you end up giving yourself a huge panic, um, causing yourself to be breathing heavy and like
Yeah, things
blood
just
pressure,
easily get
everything. It
way out
just
of control.
yeah.
All right, let's move forward here to resiliency, or how to become more resilient. Just some big
Mhm.
steps or tricks or tips.
Yeah. So 8 steps to become more resilient. Number 1, accept change. Find ways to become more comfortable with change. Number 2, become a continuous learner. Learn new skills, gain an understanding, and apply them in times of change. Number 3, take charge. Take charge of your own career and your own development. Number 4, find your sense of purpose. So this helps to assess setbacks within the framework of a broader perspective. Number 5, pay attention to self-identity. So from your identity apart from your job, so who you are as a person. And yeah, like that saying, not what you do, but who you are as a person. Cultivate relationships, develop and nurture a broad network of personal and professional relationships. Number 7, reflect. Reflection fosters learning, new perspective, and self-awareness. And then number 8, skill shift. Reframe how you see your skills, talents, and interests.
I'll admit, this was tonight's slide that I tried to hem you up with. There's not a big word on it, but this slide came in many different forms.
Okay.
It was the 8 steps to become more resilient. And it was all pretty much the same information, but it was laid out differently. Well, I picked this one because the counting is weird. I wanted to see if it.
You nearly did get me. I'm like, very, very close. You nearly got me on it. I nearly went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 7. What?
Yeah, I just thought it was so bizarre. That's why I picked it. I was like,
Yeah, you tried to get me there.
But uh, the first one, accepting change, and well, moving through all of them, I get reminded very easily of the Serenity Prayer. God grant me the serenity to change the things, or God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. That is kind of canon here. It really flows with what we're talking about tonight. And the most important part is the wisdom to know the difference of what you can change, what you can't change. And the other thing I'm often reminded of, um, and it's so prudent, is the only thing that we have any control over is how we react to a situation. That's it. We can't control anything else. Try and think of one other thing that you have control over, and it can't be done. The only thing we can control is how we react to a given situation.
Oh, yeah.
It's mind blowing, isn't it?
And sometimes if you just take that extra few moments just to think about it before you react, because sometimes in certain situations, it's so easy to just immediately react. And often when you react hastily, like you're just, it doesn't always, you end up going away thinking, I wish I hadn't have done that, or I wish I'd have said that, or I wish I'd have not, Whereas if you can just take a moment, take a few deep breaths and just think, right, okay, I need to deal with this logically, I need to stay calm, then often we get things done in a much better way than
Mhm.
just reacting to something.
Yes, indeed. Um. All right, we got one more slide here. A
Mhm.
short one to discuss. A couple benefits of embracing change.
Yep. So the benefits of embracing change as the only constant. So you don't let life overwhelm you anymore. You develop a sense of balance. You don't force things anymore and accept them as they are. You become more authentic and true to yourself, and you become more grateful for all that you have.
I really liked this one, and I thought it'd be a good one to end with.
Mhm.
It is true. Uh, in the first one alone, you don't let life overwhelm you anymore. Now, you're definitely still nobody's gonna be 100% at embracing change. I don't believe I ever will be. I think I'm far better than I used to be.
Oh, yeah.
Uh, But it is an amazing kind of feeling
Mhm.
to recognize when there's a change happening or just a small little thing and recognizing it ahead of time now, catching it, you know, and then saying to yourself, well, this isn't worth getting worked up over. Because then exactly what it says there. You don't let life overwhelm you anymore. And
Mhm.
that is just a great feeling. Plus, you get to see some progress in yourself. Hopefully, others take notice. Like, wow, I thought you were going to explode there, and
Mhm.
you're just cool with it. Um, and not to mention, it keeps those gray hairs from popping up over just dumb shit. Well, that's one of the most important things. It's not really listed on here, but in a way, you don't let life overwhelm yourself. Really does help with your own physical health as well.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
You don't let life overwhelm you. That cuts down on the stress and the all the negative effects that comes along with over overly stressed
Mhm.
minds, bodies. We age ourselves quicker. We age our hearts. We age
Absolutely.
our physical appearance. Look at the any head of office, like the president of the United States. Their 8-year term is over, and they've got a complete white head of hair. Just the stress of that job has just aged them far more than 8 years. Uh,
Yeah. Oh,
but
for real.
along with that, of course, is developing a sense of balance, like it says, and trying to be more authentic. Um,
I think a big one for that as well, especially with, I wanna say younger generations more, being grateful for what you have.
yeah.
Every There's always a new phone coming out, a new computer game, a new there's loads of things that cost loads of money, and especially if you've got kids and they're always wanting something. Thomas is just the same, always wanting something. And it's when, like, I would often focus on what I haven't been able to afford, what I can't afford, what I need to replace, things like that. And it's when you really sit back and think, well, you know what? I've got a roof over my head. I've got food in the fridge and things. And some people don't even have that. We're in a we're in very uncertain times at the moment. The cost of living and everything is absolutely crazy.
Mm-hmm.
We can't control that. We
Mm-mm.
can't control a lot of what's going on right now, but you can control how you are dealing with it for yourself. But try not to think about what you don't have and what you do have, because that'll also cause a lot less stress in your life. It's difficult. Um, and that's where just a really quick swipe at social media can be bad if you are going on there and comparing yourself to what other people are posting about what they had. That's just a pull on what we did a few weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
Don't do that. Don't go and compare yourself to others either. Be grateful for what you've got.
I agree.
And at the end of the day, you can't put a price on your health.
Nope. And I think that's a perfect place to kind of cork this one off.
Mhm.
We are a little early um, with the intro. It doesn't start until about 10 after, but I'm tired. You're tired, I know. I think
Yes.
it's a good place to call this episode an episode. I think we've hit the head or hit the nail on the head. Hit the
Yeah.
head.
I feel
Hit the
like I've
head.
had something. I've had murderous earache for about 4 days now.
Ugh, yeah. I'll trade you for my sciatica.
Oh god.
I
No.
can't wait to stand up. I'm comfortable right now, but as soon as I stand up, I won't be able to move. I won't be able to
Oh,
walk.
no.
Um,
Sucks.
then it's dinner time for a baby, so that's more lifting.
Oh,
uh, so let's get this one topped off. Oh, we don't have Hattie. Ray's got her under control.
go. Mm.
So we're gonna end as always with community calendar. We'll do our good buddy Jim in Chicagoland has his broadcast of Catalyst, hopefully tonight, usually every Wednesday, barring him being out of town or working at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here on Twitch. Check out our good buddy Array of Sunshine, who's doing the mod work right now for the community calendar. Give him a follow here on Twitch, but more importantly, there's his YouTube link. He's since made the change over to YouTube to post his awesome videos. So please give him a follow. And then, of course, the lady next to me, Gemma, she has her own YouTube channel and all the social media platforms. Go ahead and hit her bio link up and give her a follow everywhere. Cooking, crafting, baking, abseiling, the works.
Only ever once is the abseil. Never again. Oh no. Hell no.
Yep.
Whoops.
And then
Pressed the
for
wrong
for all
thing.
what?
There we go. I pressed the wrong thing. My bad.
For all things bunny, our good friend at Ella the Bunny Mom. Her store is www.mybunnyvalentine.com. Use the promo code FireDude15 to save 15% on your purchases over there. Get yourself some bunny gear. Get yourself over and help her help all the rabbits in the world. And as we mentioned earlier, Puppy Cat, her beloved rabbit, did pass away this past week. So keep her in your thoughts and prayers. And pop into her stream. I saw that she went live last night. I was asleep, but I saw the notification this morning. So she was live again. So if you see her on tonight, give her a shout. And that is it for tonight. Don't forget to join our Discord for more information throughout the week. And please join us again next week. Our bio link and email address are in all the show notes, and they're up on the screen right now if you're watching live. Or the YouTube. That is all I got, and we will see you again next week.
Yeah.
Jimmy, you got anything?
No, I think
That's a no.
yeah,
All
it's
right, guys.
ADHD week and domestic week, ADHD month and domestic violence month, so we might cover those. But bye. Yes.
All right, then.
Bye.
Bye.